Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger bringing you the one and only keto without the crazy. Today's topic is how to navigate your feelings if you feel a little bit jealous or envious or maybe even a little resentful of people in your life who don't need a ketogenic diet. What about all those people, your friends, family, spouse, relatives, whatever, coworkers, acquaintances, who appear to, emphasis on appear to, eat whatever they want and they don't have a weight issue. They appear to be in good health. They have good energy, all the things. How do we navigate feeling a little bit jealous of these people who apparently, from what we can tell, don't need to think about or worry about or micromanage their food to the degree that some of us feel like we need to? So, excellent topic. It came up in a private group that I helped to administer, and I thought, oh my goodness, what a great topic for anyone on a lower carbohydrate way of eating, because this is going to come up. If you're a human living in the real world, you're going to be associating with, maybe even living with, people that don't need to or don't choose to restrict carbohydrate to the degree that we do. I do have notes, 2 actual pages. We'll see if I can get this done in an orderly way. Just a reminder, I have links and notes in the descriptions of all my videos. Please do take a minute to scroll through in case there's anything of interest. I record some of my videos out of order, so I never know on any given day when I record versus when I will actually publish it on YouTube. So I hesitate to say, oh, I have this new thing available, Adapt Your Life Academy, for which I am the lead nutritionist. We have this new course open, because I never know. We are on the verge of opening our carnivore course, a course all about the carnivore diet. Not opening it for enrollment, but publishing the sales page with all of the details and all of the juicy tidbits of what you get if you enroll in the course. So that may or may not be available at the time I publish this video. Check out the notes, in the description in case it is. And you can join the wait list if you have any interest in learning about carnivore diets. But let's get back to the topic at hand, shall we? Okay. If you're on a ketogenic or low carb or carnivore diet or whatever, as I say, flavor of carbohydrate restriction you choose to employ in your life, you might find yourself in situations where you're dining out with people or dining in, maybe it's your own family or friends, whatever, where you find yourself saying or thinking, I wish I could eat X. I wish I could eat that. Well, did you know that the truth is you can? You can eat anything you want. I hope no one is forcing you to follow a ketogenic or carnivore diet. No one has you tied to a chair and they are they're force feeding you, and the only foods they are force feeding you are very low in carbohydrate. Any of us that follows a low carb, ketogenic, or carnivore diet are choosing to. It is our choice to. We are electing to eat this way. No one is forcing us to. And so you have to finish the rest of that sentence. I wish I could eat, insert food, that plate of spaghetti, that bowl of chips, that or crisps if you're in the UK, right? Or that whatever, that I wish I could have that pastry. Finish the rest of the sentence, ... without experiencing heartburn, without waking up the next morning with joint pain, without having a skin breakout, without being bloated the next day, without whatever, triggering a bipolar episode. Who knows what this stuff does to us, more and more that the research is showing. So anytime you are saying to yourself, I wish I could have insert food. You can. You can eat anything you want, anytime you want, in whatever quantity you want. But you have to be prepared to experience the consequences that might ensue, right? Again, maybe your blood sugar is going to shoot up 100 points if you eat whatever you want, or you will have a migraine, you will have a skin issue, you will, all these other things that could happen. Your blood pressure will shoot through the roof. Who knows? So that's something useful to tell ourselves, that we can. Nobody is restricting us from eating that bagel that our spouse is eating, or our cousin or our coworker is eating. We can eat that, but if we do, there are ramifications involved. Let me consult my notes. Yeah, that's finishing the end of that sentence. I wish I could eat that and not experience the adverse issues that I know I will experience if I eat that thing. Second thing that I think can help us distance ourselves, or as one of my mentors would say, take the temperature down on these feelings of envy and jealousy and even resentment, is to remind ourselves that we have no idea what's really going on with somebody else. Now, if it's a spouse, a partner, a child, a parent, maybe we do. Maybe we know the health issues they're dealing with or the complex issues that are affecting them. But if it's a coworker, maybe an acquaintance, somebody that we dine out with only occasionally, we come across only occasionally, we really have no idea what is happening behind closed doors. Maybe they do have diabetes type 2 and they've never mentioned it because it just hasn't come up in a conversation. Maybe they do have PCOS. Maybe they do have really severe heartburn or IBS. You know, maybe they have erectile dysfunction or enlarged prostate, right? I talk so much about PCOS as an insulin resistance related condition. I got to give love to the gentlemen, to all the men out there. Unexplained erectile dysfunction or growth of enlargement of the prostate gland is absolutely associated with insulin resistance. If you didn't know that, feel free to email me privately. I'll send you some information. But, you know, maybe those acquaintances of ours, even those coworkers of ours, who appear to be getting away with eating whatever they want and remaining slim, they appear to have no health problems. We have no idea what they're really doing when we're not with them. If we are only ever with them for a very isolated period of time, maybe they go home and purge every night. Maybe they're spending 3 or 4 hours at the gym or on their home treadmill, home exercise equipment every day. We have no idea. And I am not insinuating or suggesting that they do, but it's possible. We don't know. We have no idea what anyone is doing. All we know is what we see in the limited time that we are exposed to what they are eating, how much they are eating, and whether or not they are like super physically active. So we sort of automatically assume that they are getting away with something when we really have no idea. They might quite well be dealing with a lot of food issues or food noise, as we call it. They might be taking what we could consider extreme measures to compensate for some of these food behaviors. We just don't know. So I'm looking at this. Even if it's a best friend, I've done things that my best friend, my BFF of 40-something years doesn't know about. Why? Because I never told her, and I live in Virginia and she lives in Boston. So she does not know every single thing that I do in my daily life. And I don't know every single thing that she does in hers. And, we guilty as charged right here, me, public confession, I might be at a coffee shop, at a restaurant somewhere, but coffee shop is a good example, because I will see these women or girls who are, yay big, they're just super, super slim, ordering some kind of sugary latte mocha frappa concoction with some kind of muffin, some kind of biscotti, some kind of pastry. And I kind of want to wring their tiny skinny necks. I kind of want to bash their skinny skulls into a wall. But I have no idea what they do in the 23.5 hours a day that I don't see them at the coffee shop. And again, I'm not suggesting that everyone who's slim in our modern food environment has these kind of issues. I'm just saying we don't know. If we only ever see someone a few times a week or a few times a month, we have just no insight whatsoever into whatever else might be going on in their life, their routine, their food, their activity. We just don't know. We are assuming that everything's great when it might not be. Now, number three thing that we can remind ourselves to potentially, emphasis on potentially, diffuse some of this jealousy and envy of these people that seem to be getting away with various foods that we can't eat or can't eat without suffering the negative consequences, like I said earlier. Maybe it can help to remind ourselves that nobody's life is perfect. Those people might not struggle with food. They might be able to eat 1 or 2 cookies and close the bag and go about their day. What? Maybe they are those alien creatures that can have a slice of bread and not want 10 more, or whatever it is. If somebody doesn't struggle with food the way I do, the way maybe some of you do, they very likely struggle somewhere else in their life. Maybe they are in an unhappy marriage and you don't know because it's not something they're advertising. They're not telling you, I'm not sure if I love my husband or wife anymore. Yikes, I'm really scared. They're not broadcasting that on social media, right? So they might be in a job that they hate. They might wake up every morning wishing they could quit. They might go to sleep every night dreading waking up in the morning because they think that one more day in that office is going to end them. They might be raising kids who on the outside on social media, there's the Christmas card with the kids and everybody's happy and there's their beach vacation and everybody's smiling. Meanwhile, these kids are an absolute freaking terror. And these parents would return them to the store if they could. If kids were like a tangible good that you would buy at a store, they would return them. That's how difficult it is to parent these kids. Please know, I am not wishing these circumstances on anyone. And I am not saying that anyone who doesn't have a problem with food automatically has these other issues. I'm just pointing out that it's possible. People that, to us anyway, appear effortlessly slim, who can eat anything they want and remain at a healthy weight, at an attractive physique, not have any health problems that we know of, their cross to bear in life might not be food. They have something else. Nobody has an idyllic, perfect life. If only that were true, right? And again, none of us would wish that for people that we love or care about, but it can help to bring us back to a certain kind of reality, just to remind ourselves, okay, that person can eat one pancake and then not want 10 more, not want a stack, but they're on the verge of divorce, or they're on the verge of bankruptcy. Maybe they're in financial disaster that we don't know about. That's not something most people talk about publicly. So, three things, I think, to sort of ground ourselves and reorient ourselves to the fact that we might not really want to envy these people as much as we think, right? We said number one was, I wish I could eat whatever. You can. There's just consequences. Number two, we have no idea what is really happening in someone else's life unless we have like an eyewitness view. We live with them, they're a spouse, a partner, whatever. Number three, if they're not struggling with food, they might have some other struggle in life. And here's what I forgot to say. Not only some other struggle in life that we would be glad to trade for struggling with food. I'd rather struggle with food than be $50,000 in debt, or be in a marriage that I don't know how to get out of, and I'm scared to even tell my spouse that I'm unhappy, So that's three of how to reframe this overall situation. And then I wanted to bring up two ways to think about things differently. So, sorry, I have to consult my notes for a minute. Okay, yes, two ways to navigate the feelings. Number one, if you're wondering, what do I do with these feelings? How do I get past this envy? How do I get past this jealousy? What if you don't? What if you just let those emotions be there? What if you just sit with the jealousy, sit with the envy, sit with the resentment, just allow it to be there, right? Acknowledge that what you are feeling, that feeling of jealousy of someone who, at least on the surface, looks like they can eat anything they want and they don't struggle with food, and they maintain a weight that, to the outside world looks aesthetically pleasing. I hate the phrase normal weight or healthy weight, so I have to dance around it and say weight that looks aesthetically pleasing. You all know what I'm talking about. What if we don't need to make those feelings go away? What if we just let them be there? And we just acknowledge, you know what? It's actually perfectly normal that I do feel a little bit of envy and resentment. Of course I do. I can't eat pasta or rice or spaghetti or fruit or, well, I guess spaghetti is a kind of pasta, right? Or what have you. I personally can't have one or two handfuls of chips. I need to polish off the bag. So what if we just give ourselves permission to feel those feelings, allow them to be there? What if we forget about thinking that there's something wrong? There's something wrong with us for feeling that way. No, it is so normal and so natural, and I think so biologically wired to feel that way. What if we stopped worrying about trying to fix something that doesn't need to be fixed? That's huge. So that's the first thing. What if you're just okay with the fact that this is how it is? You know what, I have to be okay with the fact, pardon my language, that I have itty bitty teeny tiny A-cup boobs, And there's other women that have an itty bitty waist and freaking C-cup breasts. They're like literally like a Barbie doll. Amy Berger has teeny tiny boobs. What? It's the way it is. Like, I have to just accept that. I have to be okay with that being my reality, unless I'm going to go do something about it, right? But what if I just accept this is how the world is? I can't even, I feel myself like relaxing and lightening when I even say that. What if this is just how it is? What if I just stop fighting it? So that's number one in really what to do about these feelings. Number two is the reframe. And how do we give ourselves a different perspective on all of this? Because rather than feeling resentful that there's a certain group of foods, a variety of foods that you can't have or that you can't have without suffering adverse effects, we can flip that script on its head and tell ourselves, I am so grateful that there are foods I can have that don't give me heartburn, that don't trigger a migraine, that don't make me break out in adult acne, that don't give me a rosacea flare, that don't cause a gout attack, that don't contribute to fatty liver, that don't raise my blood sugar 100 points. So yes, it is 100% normal to feel a little bit envious. I wish I could eat those foods and not suffer these effects, but I am at the same time so grateful that there is this huge variety of delicious, wonderful, low carbohydrate foods that I can eat without suffering those effects. You know, when you think I can't, or I choose not to have the cookies, the brownies, the pastries, the fettuccine alfredo, the macaroni and cheese. I don't know what else even people eat anymore that's high in carbs. But when you say, I can have the charcuterie board with the prosciutto and the cheese and the cornichon and the olives. You know, there's a place where I live, there's a seafood restaurant in town that has a wedge salad, like an iceberg wedge salad, that you can have with grilled shrimp or chicken or oysters or steak or whatever. And but the salad base is, you know, the iceberg wedge with pickled red onions and blue cheese chunks, and it looks like the most fabulous salad. What about a vegetable frittata, a ham and cheese omelet, a meat lover's omelet? We are so very not deprived. We have this wealth, this variety of absolutely phenomenally delicious, low carbohydrate foods at our disposal. Foods that we can eat that don't cause these adverse issues. So we can wish that we could eat all of the sugary, high carb, high refined carb foods and not suffer consequences. But we can also be grateful for the fact that look at these amazing, delicious foods we can have and not have those consequences. So that's another thing too. I may have to or choose for my own good, my own benefit, I might choose to avoid these types of foods. Thank goodness there is this other world of absolutely delicious foods that I can have and improve and restore my health, right? All right. Let me grab my notes to make sure I haven't missed anything. Yeah. Oh, the hardship. Oh, I'm so deprived eating this pork tenderloin with like mustard mushroom sauce. Oh, I'm so deprived eating this ribeye steak with rosemary butter melted on it. Oh, and I'm so, what a hardship it is having to eat this cauliflower roasted with curry and salt and deliciousness all over it. But again, I do want to acknowledge, maybe it doesn't feel so fun that we are choosing, not have to, but choosing to say no to various cookies, brownies, pastries, potatoes, rice, bread, what have you. And we are eating these other foods, but it's not like we are starving. This is not a hardship diet. We are not living on rice cakes and alfalfa sprouts, right? So that's something to remind ourselves when we are in a situation where we see other people eating these foods. Remember that they might not be getting away with as much as we think they are, but even if they are, how fortunate are we that we can heal our issues or prevent our issues, and we still get to enjoy such radically amazing food. Because the thing is, there are people out there living with medical issues for which right now, currently, there are no treatments. I mean, keto, don't get me started on keto. If you've been a long time, subscriber and follower, if you're not, hit that subscribe button, by the way. But if you followed me for a while, you know that ketogenic diets, and I mean a real, true medical ketogenic diet, not internet wackadoodle keto nonsense that you hear, a truly ketogenic diet is the only known effective therapy for a number of rare genetic conditions involving metabolism. But even so, there are people living with other conditions for which at the current time, there are no known effective therapies. These people just sort of have to muddle through life, muddle through from day to day the best they can. And all we have to do is not eat sugar and starch. Oh, poor us. Poor us. We can't have bread. Poor me. Everybody pity me. Now, please know, it's not a contest. I absolutely understand, and I am acknowledging it's not a competition. It's not somebody has it worse than me, therefore I shouldn't feel bad, or I should be grateful that I can have this because somebody else really can't. It's not that. But it's just sort of keeping that in the back of our minds can maybe do a little bit to remind us that at the very least, there is a strategy for us. If we have type 2 diabetes, if we have PCOS, if we have cardiovascular disease, if we have fatty liver disease, if we have all of these mental health issues that keto is now being shown to be so effective for, if we have all of these GI and digestive issues, Crohn's, colitis, IBS, IBD, all these things, that at least there is an option for me, whereas for some people there is no option at the current time. So, okay, I think I've said my piece. My God, we're coming up on 30 minutes. We're going to close out now. I'm going to close out now. Again, just a reminder, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, as one of my mentors says, what in the world? I won't say, WTH, WTF. I will say, what in the world? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss new videos. And definitely check out the notes, check out all the links, because Adapt Your Life Academy might have a new course coming out. Like I said at the beginning, I record batches of videos sometimes. I'm not sure when I'm going to release them. Things could be available, things could not be available. Always check the notes. And until next time, I ask one thing of you, and that is to keep the crazy out of your keto. And when you start to feel envious of the people in your life who are eating seemingly without abandon, seemingly whatever they want, whenever they want, in whatever quantity they want, do please remind yourself of some of the things I've said here today. That things are not always what they seem. We only see what people choose to show us on social media, right? Okay. I will see you next time, everybody. Thank you for watching.